She pressed her fingertips into the dry riverbed and whispered, "Mother Earth, I beg you, let the river sing again." In the village of Afolabi, where the sun lay heavy on red clay, and the dust curled from cracked earth, the River Obinrin had once been their lifeblood. Children swam in its cool waters, women washed with laughter, elders sat on its banks telling stories of past rains. But now, for 3 straight seasons, Obinrin had been silent. The river refused to flow. Every dawn, Amina rose early, shoulders rounded, eyes hollow. She carried a clay pot on her head, walking the long path to where Obinrin once curved through the land. Once, the river had rippled under her feet, fish darting between rocks. Now, only cracked stones, broken shells, and mirages of water haunted the riverbed. Her father, Baba Tund, leaned on his hoe in the parched field. "This year, my yam vines shriveled," he said, spitting dust. Her mother, Mama Kemi, who once wore laughter like a necklace, had grown quiet, her weaving basket untouched. The smoke of burnt leaves drifted in the evenings, a desperate offering for rain. But no mist came, no clouds gathered. At the council hut, the elders, Chief Olu, Elder Ife, and Madam Yemi, huddled around a low fire. Chief Olu's voice trembled. "We honored the rains once, with song, with dance, with thanksgiving. But now," he trailed off. Suspicion settled over the village like a thick fog. Some spoke of curses. Others whispered that someone had offended the spirits. Amina's heart quivered. She believed in the old ways, in respect, gratitude, and balance. But she also feared the truths hidden beneath pride. One moonless night, Amina couldn't sleep. She crept from her hut and walked to her mother's loom. Mama Kemi's weaving had been abandoned since last season's harvest. The loom's wooden arms stood dusty, threads tangled. Amina touched a thread, gold and indigo, and closed her eyes. Mama Kemi stirred in her sleep, murmuring names, Obinrin, forgiveness, my pride. Amina's breath caught. She had never heard her mother speak the name of the river like a hurt friend before. She slipped back into the hut. The next morning, over breakfast of dry yam, Amina asked gently, "Mama, what did you mean?" Mama Kemi's eyes flickered. She dropped her spoon. "I speak of nothing," she said, too quickly. The words tasted like lies. At noon, Amina wandered toward the old shrine of the river. Country folktales said it stood where the river's source had once bubbled. Now all that remained were stones covered in moss, carved figures worn by rainless years. There, she found a carved wooden figure half buried, a Obinrin statue, the river spirit symbol. Mama Kemi had placed it there when she was young, during a sacred rite. Amina gently uncovered it, brushing dry leaves away. Beneath, she saw scratches, deep grooves freshly made. Heart pounding, she realized someone had defiled the shrine. It was no longer cared for, and worse, someone had scrapped. At the statue, wounded the river spirit sign. Whispers became ink spreading across hearts. "Did you see?" people asked. "The shrine is desecrated." The villagers gathered under the great Irako by the riverbed. Chief Olu raised his staff. "I accuse someone of dishonor," he thundered. "We must know who wounded our river's shrine, who broke the bond with spirit." Mama Kemi stands among the crowd, hands clasped, eyes red. Amina holds herself upright. Someone shouted, "Chief, my cotton fields by the upstream bank were trimmed last week. I saw someone carrying wood from the shrine." Another stood, "The trader from Ajibo. He uses my carts, yes, but I saw marks on his cart like the grooves on the statue." Chief Olu turned toward Jide, the wealthy trader, known for pride, known for silence. Jide denied with a voice as smooth as river silt, "I have returned every gift, paid every debt. I do not harm spirit signs." But though his voice was calm, his hands trembled. As night fell, the village slept with unease. Amina could not rest. She thought of the statue, of her mother's murmurings, of the empty riverbed. Something did not sit right. Amina resolved to go upstream to the ruined forest where the river's source was said to disappear into hills. She asked Elder Ife, who knew the old paths, to guide her. Ife's old bones groaned, but his spirit was strong. At dawn they left. They walked through shriveled pastures, past cracked wells, past empty hornets' nests. The forest ahead was choking with dry leaves. The path narrowed. One evening, they arrived at the remnants of a spring, choked by debris, fallen trees, dried mud, rotten leaves. The source that once bubbled sweet water now stood still. Ife knelt, placing a palm on the earth. He chanted in whispers, calling to spirits. Amina heard footsteps, just one. She turned. A figure slipped behind a baobab, watching. When night came, they camped. Ife told of ancient times when rain was life's hymn, when people came to the source and danced under stars. Amina listened, tears shining in her eyes, the knowledge heavy. At twilight, they saw the figure again, Jide. He stood near the spring, axe in hand, wood chips at his feet. Amina's heart tightened. "Why do you harm this place?" she cried out. Jide startled. "I cut wood to sell for your cotton fields," he shouted. "The forest gives me nothing else." Ife stepped forward. "But the forest is the mother of the river. Your greed ends with this axe." A confrontation flared. Jide defended. "If I starve, my children will starve." Ife replied softly, "Then starve with integrity, for the river is the heart of all children." Thunder grumbled overhead, wind stirred. The river bed stirred. The spring's edges flickered. But Jide stood firm. That night, Amina watched from behind a tree as Jide poured vinegar and salt into the spring pool. "Poison for insects," he said, "it would vanish under floodwaters." But the land knew better. At dawn, Ife discovered dead fish in the overflow pools. The water smelled sour. The forest's silence turned ominous. Birds did not call. Animals did not wander. Amina returned to the village dragging news behind her like a sorrow. The elders gathered under the baobab. Chief Olu listened. Amina spoke. "Jide, in desperation, has injured the spring. The poison flows downstream." Jide's face was pale. He denied at first. But when Mama Kemi was seized by fever after drinking water from the river for her sick child, his denial turned to regret. The poison touches all. A great council was convened at dusk. The moon was thin, a sickle in the sky. Elder Ife spoke in the old tongue. The people held clay bowls, offering them to the riverbed. They presented fresh millet, red ochre dye, kola nuts, and beads. Mama Kemi, weak but determined, held the statue of Obinrin in her arms. Chief Olu raised his voice. "Jide, bring your bundles, your earnings from cotton, your barrels of trade, offer them to heal the river as you have heard it." Jide, tears in his eyes, stepped forward. He gave all. He cleared the spring of debris, replanted trees, built barriers to cleanse water, and worked from sunrise to dusk. Amina stood behind him, singing her mother's lullaby, voice soft and clear. The villagers joined. The offering spread over mud and stone. As midnight deepened, clouds gathered. Thunder rolled, not angrily, but like the old drums beneath a dancer's hands. Rain fell, first as gentle kisses on dust, then as laughter of the sky. The riverbed drank greedily. Spring overflowed, clean, sweet. Obinrin's song returned, a ripple, a laugh, a full voice. Mama Kemi, under the riverbank tree, raised her feeble arms. She drank the rain, lips trembling. Baba Tund let rain wash his face, fields alive once more. Chief Olu and Elder Ife knelt in the mud, clay on their hands, gratitude on their lips. Days later, fields greened, cattle drank, children laughed again. Obinrin meandered through the valley with strength. The spring, cleansed, hosted fish, the trees revived, birds returned. But the greatest change was in hearts. People learned that rivers are not to be taken. They are to be honored. Jide, once selfish, now the river's guardian. Mama Kemi, healed, weaving again. Amina, strong, singing songs of gratitude each dawn. In seasons later, when skies darkened and drought whispers returned far upstream, the people of Afolabi did not falter. They gathered at Obinrin's banks, offered thanks, cleaned the springs, repaired shrines. They taught children, nature is not ours to command, it is ours to care for. And when greed finds a way into the hearts of men, the river may refuse to flow, but its refusal is not punishment alone, it is a call for truth, respect, and restoration. And so, Obinrin flowed forevermore.